You are standing in a government building. The walls are beige. The lighting is that specific kind of fluorescent that makes everyone look mildly ill. And in the middle of this room, there are chairs. Not a lot of chairs. In fact, there are fewer chairs than people. And someone is about to press play on a Bluetooth speaker. And your entire future in this country depends on what happens next. Welcome to Citizenship. For real bro here, where we say what no one else will. Now before you think this is a bit, stay with me. Because the more you look at how countries actually decide who gets to belong, the more you realize something uncomfortable. The current system is not that different from musical chairs. It is just slower, more expensive, more confusing, and somehow less fair. At least in musical chairs, everyone knows the rules. But here is what nobody is asking. What if we made it official? What if citizenship, the thing that determines where you can live, work, vote, raise your kids, build your life, what if we handed that out based on who sat down fastest when the music stopped? You think that sounds insane. And maybe it is. But stay with me because by the end of this, you might be wondering if it is actually more honest than what we already have. Let that mess with you for a second. Part 1. The chair is hilarity talking.
Sweet dreams, little one. You've got this, kiddo.
Here is something nobody tells you when you are born. The moment you arrive, someone has already decided where you belong. Not based on your skills. Not based on your effort. Not based on what kind of person you are going to be. Just based on geography. Your mother happened to be in a particular piece of land when you showed up. And that is your citizenship. Congratulations, you won the lottery. Except you did not play. Nobody asked you. You just woke up, and there was a chair with your name on it. Now contrast that with the person born 2 miles over the invisible line. Same planet, same year, same basic human. But their chair does not have a name on it. They have to earn their seat. They have to fill out forms, wait in lines, prove their worth, demonstrate loyalty to a country they were not allowed into yet, pass tests, pay fees, and hope the music stops at the right moment. And somewhere in a beige government building, someone is deciding if they get to sit down. So we act like birthright citizenship is the natural, obvious, fair system. And then we design immigration systems that treat everyone else like contestants on a game show. The only difference is the game show has better production value. Here is the uncomfortable part though. Shh. If we are being brutally honest, most of the benefits of the citizenship lottery, the healthcare access, the stable passport, the right to vote, the ability to stay in one place without fear, most of that is not because the winners of the birth lottery worked for it. It is because they happened to fall out of the right person in the right zip code. And we call that a system. The chair was already taken. You just did not know there was a game. Part 2. The rules sound official until you read them. So, if birth citizenship is arbitrary, what about the other path? What about the people who have to actually go through the process? Surely that is merit-based, right? Surely that is the fair version. Oh, you sweet summer human. Let me walk you through what earning citizenship actually looks like in most countries. You need to live there legally for a certain number of years. But to live there legally, you need a visa. To get a visa, you need a job or a family member or a specific skill. To get the job, you often need to already be there. To already be there, you need the visa. It is a circle so perfect it deserves a frame on someone's wall. And while you are in that circle, you are paying taxes. Often more than citizens, you are contributing to the economy. You are raising kids who grow up fully belonging to that culture, while their parents technically do not. And every few years you are filling out the same stack of paperwork to prove you are still a person who deserves to exist in this particular geographic location. Now here is the part nobody predicted. Countries that make citizenship hardest to get are often the ones most desperate for workers, taxpayers, and young people to keep their economies alive. They need people. They need people badly, but the process to let people in is designed as if they are trying to prevent a heist. Meanwhile, the heist already happened. You just call it immigration policy. The rules sound official because they are official. That does not mean they make sense. And this is where the musical chairs version starts to look dangerously reasonable. At least in musical chairs, everyone can see the chairs. Everyone knows how many there are. Everyone knows exactly when the music is going to stop. There is no 3-year processing time. There is no form you filled out wrong because the instructions were written by someone who apparently hates clarity. You just run, you sit, and you either made it or you did not. Brutal? Yes. Confusing? No. Part 3. Okay, but what would actually happen?
All right, everyone, let's begin.
So let us genuinely run this experiment. Let us say a country, any country, wakes up tomorrow and announces that citizenship applications are now settled by a quarterly game of musical chairs held in the capital. What would happen? First, obviously, everyone would lose their minds. There would be think pieces. There would be protests. Someone on television would use the phrase "the dignity of the process" about 17 times. A philosopher would write an essay. 3 politicians would give speeches without saying anything. And then, slowly, people would start preparing. There would be musical chairs training facilities. I am completely serious. You think nobody would monetize this? Within 6 months, there would be boot camps charging $3,000 to teach you the optimal pivot technique for competitive chair sitting. Rich families would hire coaches. Someone would invent a chair grip supplement. A YouTuber would post a 12-minute video called "I got citizenship in 30 days," and the comment section would just be people arguing about whether they cheated. And here is where it gets genuinely uncomfortable. The people who would dominate this system would not be the most deserving. They would be the youngest, the most physically able, the ones with the resources to train, the ones who can afford to fly to the capital every 3 months. Elderly applicants? Gone in the first round. Someone with a disability? The system just quietly excluded them while maintaining it is technically open to everyone. But wait. Shh. Does that sound familiar? Because right now the people who successfully navigate most immigration systems are disproportionately educated, already wealthy, young, and healthy enough to survive the process. The system already filters for those things. Musical chairs would just make the filter visible. And maybe that is why people would hate it, not because it is worse.
What is happening in there?
Because it would be honest. Part 4. The thing nobody wants to admit. Here is where it gets really uncomfortable. Every country, every single one, already has a version of musical chairs. The music just runs for years instead of minutes. You want to immigrate through skill? There are more applicants than spots. The music is playing. You want family reunification? There are backlogs so long that siblings are waiting over a decade. The music is still playing. You want asylum? You have to reach the country, survive the journey, file the right paperwork, prove credibly that your fear is real, and then wait while someone decides if your fear is the right kind of fear. The music has been playing the entire time. Some people have been circling the chairs for years. And the chairs? Countries announce exactly how many people they will accept each year. There are literally numerical limits on how many human beings can sit down. Quotas, caps, limits. It is musical chairs. They just replaced the Bluetooth speaker with a federal budget document. Now here is the part that should genuinely make you sit with something. The people who never have to think about this, the ones born into citizenship, they genuinely believe the current system is based on merit and order and fairness. They think that if someone could not get in, they probably did not try hard enough or did not qualify or the timing was not right. They do not see the music playing, because for them, the music never started. They were already sitting when the room opened. And they will be the loudest voices against the musical chairs proposal, not because it is more random than the current system.
2 systems. 1 choice.
Because it would force them to watch the randomness happen in real time. Part 5. The game was never about chair. Here is the thing nobody saw coming, and I want you to really sit with this. Musical chair citizenship would not fix anything. But the reason it feels insane is not because citizenship should be harder to understand. It is because citizenship should be harder to lose. The whole conversation assumes that citizenship is a prize, something earned, something earned, something won, something granted by one group of humans to another group of humans based on criteria. The first group designed for themselves. And when you frame it as a prize, then yeah, you need a competition. You need rules. You need a process. You need judges. You need people who did not make the cut. But what if citizenship was not a prize? What if it was just the legal recognition of something that is already true? That you are here. You are a person. And this place is part of your life. The musical chairs version would be insane because it treats belonging like a competition. The current version is also insane. It just treats belonging like a bureaucratic transaction, which somehow feels more legitimate because it comes with a lot of paperwork and fees. The real game was never about finding an empty chair. It was about who decided how many chairs to put in the room. And that person never had to compete. You want to know the most brutally honest thing about citizenship? It is not a reflection of where you belong. It is a reflection of where you were born. And we spend centuries building elaborate systems and stories to make that feel like it means something deeper than it does. Meanwhile, someone born 2 miles over an invisible line is sitting in a waiting room, filling out the same form for the 3rd time, waiting to find out if they get a chair. And you have been sitting in yours since day 1, not even knowing the music was playing. So drop a comment below. Tell me honestly, do you think the current system is actually fair? Or does it only feel fair because you already have a seat? Because I have a feeling the answers are going to get uncomfortable. And uncomfortable answers are the only ones worth reading. And hey, if you genuinely enjoyed this, you can subscribe. Or do not. You probably already made your decision in the first 30 seconds. Which is basically citizenship by first impression. And apparently we are all fine with that.